Valorant has a broken map. To see what I mean, let's take a look at a round from Comical that happened yesterday.
It was a tough start, that's for sure. And now moving into the defensive side here on Sunset, they're not going to have control over the pace. That's something KC are definitely going to bring to the table. A quickened pace and a much faster play towards this B site, as the plant should be coming in fairly soon. Nice and comfy.
This is not going to be the easiest of retake. Attempting to try and close in the backlines as well. Obviously, Hoodie now taking over that Cypher. It seems like that role is going to be split between multiple players. Surprised Fatino's not the one taking it, if I'm honest. I think Hoodie's breach is one I enjoy, but nonetheless, we'll see how they make this work. This is something that KC almost enjoy, getting into these post-plant scenarios. They now have that KO as well, which is going to add another layer in terms of the utility, and they may not even need it as they just slaughter every member.
What you just saw should never really be able to happen, but it happens consistently. So what did you just see? Well, Comical came in towards B, and they're planting with Wingman, right? So that's the first thing. And Gecko is becoming more and more popular on this map, but obviously with a Wingman plant, you're not even really risking with anyone actually planting the spike, right? So Wingman plants the spike, he can't really be spammed from, you know, either CT or in towards market either. You get into a post plant, but then this should just never happen, right? Because what's going to happen now is all of Comical in a second, as soon as this retake basically begins at all, they all are just going to group into B main, right? So what control have Comical actually taken? Well, from the start of the round, they've come into B main, they've walked up to here. That's their control, right? That's what they have control in this entire round. But they're going to win a flawless round on a pistol round by doing this, right? And here's the worst part, right? This is their own smoke. This is an attacking smoke. They smoke themselves off from the spike. This is a pistol round. This should not work in a pistol round. Okay? It should not work in this kind of round, but it does, and we're going to see a ton more examples where, guess what? It keeps working and keeps working, because this is just really, really hard to try and beat, as we can see in these next couple examples I'm going to give you. Because Sunset is obviously the newest map in Valorant, so there's still ideas being, you know, formulated, and what actually is the best thing is kind of still just in development, right? We're coming towards the end of that development now. But this idea really started with teams like G2 and Team Heretics back at kickoff.
They don't have down enough post-plant util. Everybody through main here. This is going to come down to spam with the guns and maybe a bit of util on top of it. Damage definitely being done. Players are low right now. Diffuse, tapped, trying to force out that first wave of this one, but MTA didn't expect it off to the side. Smoke's still up, really forcing them all to just go out into the open, spamming, but nobody's been sticking this entire time. Mal's now diffusing. Half onto the board, everybody lining up, half onto it all the way. Where are the bullets? There they are!
Go for spawn. That means the players in B main need to hold on. The time now, much more valuable to them if they can delay Navi. And you can see they've got some stuff to work with already. A shock dart fired through to deter some spams as well, and a kill connected, but Patatek's being found. Their flankers down. Now most of the round relies on these spams, blindly firing through a smoke. Someone could be defusing, but there's no panic from Team Heretics. They feel like they've got this one under control. The kills are matching up. The tap again confirms that they're going for a classic out, but not in time. Mini boost.
Team Heretics took this idea all the way to Madrid when they played against Sentinels in the first game, and they destroyed Sentinels on this map, and again managed to do the exact same idea on a pistol round.
This is where it gets interesting. Mini Boo sticking around. He's the only one on site and maybe looking to just be a nuisance, and he got real close to it then. Managing to avoid
a lot
this.
of time, yeah, but able to
lovely.
get out as well.
That's just a lot of players in one position. Well, they still got shock dart here. No one on it, that should be confirmed. Smoke goes back up, another tap. Someone's gonna have to start committing on these just in case, but they're willing to risk it. But now the defuse gonna get started, and Heretics will be doing the damage, but the defuse is still going on. Made to halfway, spams there! Tens! You got a miracle for me now! Not this time, Patatek! Tipping it in there.
But why is this the go-to strategy? Well, let's quickly explain that basically there isn't many places to play on a B postman. It's really that simple, right? You might try and play into market, particularly if we've done a B split, but the problem with market is if I'm chilling back here, what happens if someone's coming this way and someone's coming this way, right? Which way do I look? I don't know. I'm getting pinched. Not great, right? Same thing is true then if I'm in here or in here, right? If I don't have market control, what happens if, you know, which way do I look if they're coming this way and this way, right? I'm in between defenders again, right? Which way do I look? Don't know. Could be tricky for me, right? I could die, right? And the same thing is true up here as well, as if, you know, we don't have any control in any of these areas, then the same thing is going to be true. These guys get smoked off, and the same thing is going to happen where if I'm in here, oh, look, I'm getting pinched again. So basically, that's the problem with this B postman, is there isn't a ton of great positions to play, and it's kind of like a cascading domino effect of if you don't have control of one, then it's going to be tough in the next one and the next one, until eventually you just end up in B main, where we've seen that you do have enough protection here, essentially, to just go for the spam. So what might someone do then against this kind of strategy? How would you beat this strategy as the defenders? Well, the thing is, of course, you might say, oh, just save your utility, you know, and just bombard B main with your utility, right? But then you get things like this where Miniboo in this instance is very clever, right? Heretics know that they are going to end up playing this postman, but Miniboo just creates a distraction, right? And what does that bring out? Zelsis uses a flash. We got the Boombot coming out here from Zekken as well. We get the Dizzy flash coming out. They use the Omen flash. So just one player being there and kind of faking some presence gets out a ton of Sentinel's utility, and then we're gone, right? Because that's the thing. As long as you every so often play a, you know, a postman where you're a bit more aggressive, as long as you don't always do it, right, then the other team has to respect it. They're not just going to run up here without using any utility, because then they're probably just going to die, right? So you can just, if you can, just bait it out like we see Heretics do there. Now you have nothing to deal with this, and now you're in a lot of trouble. The other thing that you might suggest is coming for a flank. But as Giants find out against Karmikor, that can be difficult as well.
The afterplant didn't happen, and there was a lot in terms of the retake. They had a Rolling Thunder. Now there is a Hunter's Fury available for Cloud, which he's going to try and throw through here. But he's actually had to give up on it, or well, didn't have a choice because of the null command.
Yeah, had to give up on it very literally. Good ult by Magnum, countering it perfectly. Fight in towards spawn. They can't overcommit to this. GX are tucked in some nasty positions. In fact, it was Vitinho I was talking about. He's given it away as 3 look to push forward, but the reposition from Tamazi. You mentioned his Cypher looked good, but this is just him looking good. Fantastic play. And even though he's gone down to 4, he stopped Breach Vitinho from being able to put any util down.
So yeah, flanking can be a difficult option as well, as Giants found out. And the first problem that you're going to run into against a lot of teams is they're playing Cypher. And this camera, particularly if they are just going B, is going to be very, very common, right? So, for instance, when Giants try and come for this flank, the camera just sees them, right? It sees them here, and it's like, well, now we know that you're flanking with 3 people, right? I've seen 3 people with my camera. Like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what they're trying to do. You see Karmikor instantly react, look at this, right? And they even Omen flash out here. But then you run into even more problems, right? There's more and more and more problems as you try this, because the first thing is you have to come out into mid. So you might have to come out into mid, and that's generally an attacker-sided space. And then if there is a lurk on this map, it can just destroy you, right? If there's someone here, you might end up in a crossfire between this when you're trying to walk out like Giants have here. Or as we get into later on in this round, as we see with Tamazi when they kill this player here, you then can end up in this crossfire, right? Which again is just almost impossible to try and beat, to be honest. Once you're at this point and there's someone here, like, you're not winning, like, the round is over, right? Like, there's just no way you're actually winning this. And then even if, you know, you did somehow deal with all of this and even get in there, you're still running into an incredibly, you know, difficult area to then try and clear out. It's just going to be very, very difficult, basically, is the point. So what could Riot do to actually fix the map? Well, a couple suggestions from me here would be, one, shortening this area, right? Like bringing this wall in, essentially, so that if someone was in this corner, maybe they're sticking out, right? So that you can't hide on this side of B main, right? You'd still want enough space so that the defender could play behind this box, right? And be back here and still move around. You still want that much space, but you could bring it back to, you know, something like this kind of length, right, so that someone couldn't actually be on this side of B main, because that would mean that we can obviously just then bombard you with utility here, and we know which direction we need to look in, right? You could also shorten this, right? Shorten the width of this so that perhaps only it's big enough for like 1 person, 2 people max, right? Because right now you can ferry like 3 people behind this if you want to, and that's not very good, right? That's not a good idea. Or make it spammable or something, right? Just so that you can't be in behind this, right? We saw the kind of similar thing happen on Pearl as well, where we had the spam problem on Pearl. Similar idea could happen to this box as well. The problem is, if you did that, which I do think would be a good idea, is that you then need to change the site as well, because then, of course, the question would become, how do you actually win a post plant on this site, right? How could you actually ever win it? So you'd need to probably add, you know, like some sort of box here, right? So that you could hide behind, or maybe, you know, do something with this area to to make it a proper angle to be able to be played from a lot. You know, things like that, you would need to add some things probably to the site or to market, right, to just make it a bit easier to play the post plant in general. But I do think that changing these kind of things would be pretty good, because again, coming back here and sitting back here and winning a round by just sitting here and doing this, you know, taking no space and literally just clicking left click through your own smoke, that should not work on a pistol round, because it's not very good gameplay and it's very boring and it doesn't require really any skill.